In a reality far from our own, there exists a pair of twin planets, each with its own gravitational pull, yet uniquely connected. The upper world, known as Up Top, basks in wealth and prosperity, its citizens living in luxury and technological advancement. In stark contrast, the lower world, down below, endures poverty and desolation, its inhabitants bound to a life of hardship. On these twinned planets, where gravity holds each to their own terrain, live Adam and Eden. Adam, a bright but unassuming man from down below, has always been fascinated by the science and possibilities beyond his gritty existence. Eden, a vibrant and compassionate woman from up top, lives a life shielded from the struggles beneath her world. Despite the strict laws enforced by the governing authorities, which forbid any interaction between the two worlds, Adam and Eden find each other during their youthful explorations near the borderline, a peak where the two planets come closest. There, gravity's peculiar effect allows them brief moments of nearness, where items and whispers can be exchanged. Their friendship blossoms secretly, defying the laws and the natural order. However, their innocent bond lays the groundwork for a love that challenges the very fabric of their divided societies. As they grow, so does their awareness of the complexities and injustices surrounding their world's intertwined existences. As children, Adam and Eden discovered that the borderline offered not just a meeting point, but a rare opportunity to experience each other's worlds through stories and shared dreams. With each meeting, their fascination with each other deepened into a quiet, resilient affection. Over time, these clandestine rendezvous turned into a profound love that defied the gravitational forces pulling them apart. Their bond was built on stolen moments, where they would exchange books, music, and ideas about a future where their love could exist freely. Adam, a budding inventor, was captivated by the physics of their universe, dreaming up theories and contraptions that might one day bridge their worlds permanently. Eden, inspired by Adam's resilience, became his secret advocate, smuggling him rare materials from up top to aid his experiments. However, their secret meetings did not go unnoticed. The gravitational anomalies at the borderline occasionally attracted the attention of border patrols. The young lovers learned to be cautious, timing their meetings with the patrol's shifts and communicating through coded messages left in discreet locations. One faithful day, their quiet rebellion was threatened by a severe storm, a rare occurrence that affected both worlds simultaneously. Unwilling to miss their planned meeting despite the dangerous weather, Eden attempted to reach the borderline but was caught in the storm's brutal winds. In a desperate attempt to save her, Adam defied his world's gravity, catching Eden as she slipped from her side of the peak. The storm intensified, making it impossible for Eden to return safely. In an act of sheer desperation and love, Adam tethered himself to a tree, holding on to Eden, who was now dangling into his world, her safety tethered by his grip alone. The ordeal ended with Eden slipping from his grasp, falling back into her world as the winds carried her away, leaving Adam devastated and alone, watching helplessly as she disappeared into the storm. In the aftermath of the storm, Adam was left reeling from the traumatic loss of Eden. Believing her to have been killed during her perilous fall back to up top, his world darkened and his spirit was shattered. The pain of losing Eden was compounded by the impossibility of confirming her fate, as any communication between their worlds remained strictly forbidden and heavily monitored. Haunted by memories and driven by a deep sense of unresolved grief, Adam threw himself into his work. His passion for inventing, once fueled by dreams of bringing their worlds together, now became a channel for his anguish. He became obsessed with creating a device that could defy the gravitational laws that had so cruelly separated them. Adam's experiments became increasingly daring, drawing energy from his desperation. He scoured forbidden texts and sought out black market materials that could potentially alter gravitational properties. Each failed experiment deepened his resolve rather than deter it. He knew that if there was even the slightest chance Eden was still alive, he needed to find a way to breach the divide without the catastrophic consequences of their last encounter. During this period of fervent experimentation, Adam was unaware that Eden had survived the fall. The storm had indeed carried her back to her world, but not without consequence. She awoke in a hospital, with no memory of Adam or the moments leading up to the storm. The trauma had induced amnesia, erasing her memories of Adam and their secret meetings. As Eden recovered physically, her life resumed its usual course, but with a void she could not explain, an inexplicable yearning for something or someone she could no longer remember. Meanwhile, Adam's reputation as a brilliant but reckless inventor began to grow, drawing unwelcome attention from authorities in Down Below who were suspicious of his intentions and activities. Adam's breakthrough came unexpectedly after years of relentless trials and errors. In a dusty, overlooked corner of a local library, he stumbled upon ancient text that hinted at a rare natural phenomenon where the gravitational fields of up top and down below might momentarily align under specific celestial conditions. Seizing upon this clue, Adam devised a daring plan to exploit this alignment to create a device that could temporarily neutralize the opposing gravitational forces, allowing him to cross into up top. Armed with this new knowledge, Adam transformed his small workshop into a frenetic hub of activity. He began constructing a prototype of a gravitational harness that he hoped would enable him to navigate the treacherous no-man's land that divided the two worlds. Every component of the device was crafted with meticulous care, each calculation double-checked to ensure nothing was left to chance. As the celestial event approached, Adam's preparations became more frantic. He knew this opportunity might never come again. The alignment would only last for a few minutes, just enough time, he hoped, to cross over, find Eden, and bring her back, or at least discover the truth of what had become of her. Simultaneously, Adam took a job at Transworld, the massive conglomerate that controlled the commerce and legal interaction between the two worlds. His position there gave him access to critical data and resources that further refined his device's capabilities. It also put him under the watchful eye of security forces that monitored all activities for any sign of legal infractions. As the day of the celestial event drew near, Adam tested his device with a mixture of hope and terror. Initial tests were promising. Objects he targeted with the device seemed to hover in a state of neutral gravity, unaffected by the pull of either world. However, the true test would be whether it could work on a human subject under the extreme conditions of the gravitational void. As the celestial alignment neared, Adam's anticipation reached a fever pitch. He donned his gravitational harness, which was now more than just a device, it was his lifeline. The culmination of years of grief and obsession turned into hope. With the harness activated, Adam felt the familiar pull of gravity lessen around him. It was time to put his plan into action. He made his way to the borderline, the closest point between up top and down below. The area was heavily monitored, but Adam had planned for this. Using a series of distractions crafted from his workshop, he managed to evade the surveillance systems long enough to reach the critical point of transition. As the celestial bodies aligned, the air shimmered around him, the gravitational fields fluctuating wildly. Adam activated the full power of his harness and stepped into the void. The sensation was unlike anything he had ever experienced. For a moment, he was suspended between worlds, neither rising nor falling, before the harness stabilized his ascent. He was crossing into up top, driven by the slim hope that Eden was still there, waiting for him. Meanwhile, Eden, whose memories had begun to resurface in fragments after therapy, felt an inexplicable pull towards the borderline on that same day. Images of Adam, their laughter, and the storm had started to flash back into her consciousness. Guided by these flashes of the past, she found herself walking towards the place where she had last felt whole. The reunion was nothing short of miraculous. As Adam emerged from the gravitational limbo, he saw Eden standing there, as if in a dream. The moment their eyes met, Eden's memories flooded back in full force. The years apart melted away in the gravity of their embrace. Their love rekindled in an instant. But their reunion was not without danger. The celestial event was short-lived, and the gravitational fields began to revert. Adam and Eden knew they had to move quickly. With the harness still operational, Adam grabbed Eden's hand, and they made their way back to down below, evading the authorities and overcoming obstacles as they went. With Adam and Eden safely back in down below, their return was not the end of their trials, but the beginning of new challenges. The authorities from both worlds were on high alert, having detected the unauthorized use of experimental technology at the borderline. Adam and Eden found themselves fugitives in their own land, their reunion shadowed by the threat of capture. Adam's former employer, Transworld, was particularly vested in apprehending him. His unauthorized access to restricted technology and data was a breach of security that could not be overlooked. The conglomerate's influence spanned both worlds, and they employed their resources to track down the couple. Adam and Eden had to rely on their wits and the underground network of sympathizers who believed in their cause. Meanwhile, the reality of their situation began to sink in. Eden had to adjust to a life far removed from the comfort and security of up top. The harsh conditions of down below were a stark contrast to what she was accustomed to. And although she was with Adam, the strain of living on the run was taxing on her both physically and emotionally. As they dodged capture, they also sought ways to legitimize their union and their presence together in down below. Legal avenues seemed limited due to the rigid laws governing interactions between the two worlds. However, their story had begun to attract attention from various quarters, including some reform-minded politicians and activists who saw in their plight a symbol of the need for change in the oppressive laws that divided the twin planets. Their cause was further complicated by internal conflicts within the underground network that supported them. Differences in strategy and philosophy led to disagreements on how best to support Adam and Eden, sometimes endangering the couple further. As they navigated these treacherous waters, Adam and Eden's commitment to each other was tested in ways they had never anticipated. They had to continually adapt and plan, even contemplating drastic measures to ensure their safety and future together. As the pressure from Transworld and the authorities intensified, Adam and Eden realized that they could no longer keep running. They needed a permanent solution that would not only secure their safety, but also challenge the oppressive laws separating the two worlds. They decided to take a stand, planning a public demonstration that would expose the injustices and rally support from both up top and down below. With the help of their network, Adam and Eden organized a gathering at the borderline, the symbolic place where their journey began. They invited media from both worlds, activists and sympathetic politicians, hoping to turn their personal plight into a public cause. As the day of the event approached, anticipation and tension built up among all involved. On the day of the demonstration, a large crowd gathered, with drones and cameras broadcasting the event across both planets. Adam and Eden stood hand in hand, prepared to share their story and their vision for a united future. Just as they began to speak, security forces from both worlds converged on the site, intent on dispersing the assembly and arresting the couple. What followed was a tense standoff. The crowd, moved by Adam and Eden's courage, formed a protective circle around them, chanting and demanding change. The authorities were hesitant to act harshly in such a public and highly scrutinized setting. This moment of hesitation allowed negotiations to begin. Behind the scenes, diplomats from up top and down below, seeing the widespread support for Adam and Eden, started discussions about reforming the laws governing interactions between the two worlds. The couple's ordeal had ignited a broader debate about equality and freedom. After hours of standoff, a temporary agreement was reached. Adam and Eden would not be arrested. Instead, they would be part of a new commission formed to review and propose changes to the existing laws. The demonstration ended peacefully, with the couple's situation unresolved, but with a spark of hope for systemic change. In the weeks following the dramatic standoff at the borderline, the impact of Adam and Eden's public demonstration reverberated through both worlds. The commission, to which they were appointed, began its work under intense public scrutiny. Media from up top and down below covered their every meeting, turning their efforts into a symbol of potential unity and reform. Adam and Eden, now not just survivors but active participants in the political arena, worked tirelessly. They brought to the commission personal testimony and evidence of the hardships and injustices caused by the segregation of the worlds. Their compelling stories, combined with the public support they had garnered, pushed the commission to propose significant changes. The proposed reforms included easing travel restrictions between the worlds, allowing for regulated visits and exchanges. More radically, the commission suggested a pilot program for joint ventures in business and science, aiming to foster interdependence that could lead to a more permanent societal merge. As the Commission's proposals were debated in the governing bodies of both worlds, Adam and Eden became de facto ambassadors for their cause. They spoke at schools, appeared on talk shows, and participated in public forums, advocating for a more integrated society. Their love, once a forbidden anomaly, had become a narrative of hope and change. Finally, the reforms were put to a vote. The process was fraught with political maneuvering and opposition, but the tide of public opinion was in their favor. The reforms passed, marking the beginning of a new era for both planets. Adam and Eden, having achieved what once seemed impossible, decided to step back from the public eye. They settled in a quiet part of Down Below, near the borderline, where they continued to promote grassroots initiatives for integration. Their love had survived not only physical and gravitational barriers, but it also reshaped the political landscape. The story of their journey, from star-crossed lovers to pioneers of social change, left a lasting legacy, inspiring future generations to question arbitrary divisions and to imagine a world where love and unity defy the forces that seek to separate.